Hey everyone, I'm Jaden,
And I'm Noah.
and we are the Super Gamer Bros, and this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast. We're just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we do. So Noah, you excited?
Uh, Not particularly, no.
I'm excited too. So Noah, today we're talking about A Plague Tale: Innocence.
That's right. A Plague Tale Innocence is a game that takes place in France, and if you have seen any of the trailers, the whole game is basically wow. We had a whole recording about it, and I still can't remember what they're called. What type of quest is it?
Oh,
Companion quest?
uh, uh,
Escort missions?
escort mission.
I would say escort mission companion quest also works. But anyway,
Yeah.
this whole game involves you always having a side character. I don't think there's a single point in the game where you don't actually.
Well, I mean, there are a couple missions where you
Like
don't.
very few instances.
Yeah, very, very few instances. Also, to kind of reference what Noah just said, yes, we did talk about this game already. Uh, Unfortunately, we had some very severe audio issues in that one because how we were recording it. So that recording is unusable. So we get to talk about it again.
I think you
Which
just say we have technical difficulties.
sure, and we get to talk about it again. Although it sounds like it's not going to be too big of a deal because you don't even remember what we talked about when we recorded it.
That's true. I guess so.
But
Um,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so unfortunately, to our listeners, we will probably not be our usual chipper and joyful selves, just because we did talk about this game very recently, and uh, we talked about what we wanted
it's
to
not
do,
that bad.
huh?
I'm not that upset about it. I mean,
Well,
I'm ready to talk about it again.
I'm upset about it just because like the conversation isn't as like authentic. Maybe is the word, just because the fact that we're talking about it the second time, so like we
On the
will be kind of
contrary, I think
repeating
it might be
things.
deeper or more refined.
That is true. That is possible. I don't know. Either way, yeah, we're just talking about it again. So yeah, this that is why this episode is coming out late because we had to completely re-record it. And if you followed our Instagram, you'd already know that. So there.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, 7 people. I wanted to
Well,
say,
we've actually got like 30 some Instagram followers.
oh, I'm just being, I'm just being funny.
No, I'm
Poking
sorry.
fun at you, you know.
That is, you do that a lot.
I know.
But anyway, no.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
I wanted to, before we talked about the setting, I did want to bring something that we mentioned the first time is where we first heard about this game or played it.
Yeah, no. I was actually just about to say that. So I first heard about it. It was on TV. I don't remember. I had to have been watching like sports with dad or something because that's the only time I'm ever watching like actual TV anymore. But there was actually like a trailer for it on TV, and uh, all I can remember from that trailer is a girl and her younger brother like surrounded by rats and she's holding a torch. That's all I can remember from that trailer. Just like them walking through a huge number of rats, her holding a torch. And then I swear, I think they did a commercial with Sean Bean, but I didn't bother to actually check if that was fact.
Yeah, I had friends who bought it on launch and raved about it, but I was under the impression that it was a much shorter game than it is.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
I think that's what held me off from it for a long time.
yeah, yeah. Like I thought watching the trailer just from the small amount I'd seen of it, that basically the game was like one short, like 4 to 5 hour game. Um, Mainly because it looked nice. It really stemmed from how the game looked. Because to me, like indie games, a lot of indie games really kind of fit into one of two veins, which is they look very nice and they're very short, or they have like kind of like the 8-bit graphics, 16-bit. Not to say that that looks bad, it's just obviously they put more effort into the actual game and
Well,
story and
obviously,
length
there's a
than
difference in quality, between a 8-bit, 16-bit type thing and a AAA, ray traced, fully fleshed design world.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
completely different.
yeah. But to me, that's like kind of the two overarching, very broad categories of indie games to me, because you have like, say, walking sims, which look very nice, but usually can be beaten within a few hours. And then you have games like Celeste, Shovel Knight that are 8-bit, but they take a fair amount longer to beat. So the fact that this game looked so nice, I thought, okay, so this is probably one of those shorter games, probably be just a few chapters. Like, oh, the plague, we lose our parents, the plague, then we go. Then we have to like find some safe space, and then that's the end of the game. That's very much what I had assumed the plot of this game was going in. And initially, like you said, we didn't buy it because it was $40, I think, like full price, $40. And I thought, well, that's a lot for a game that's going to be just a few hours in length. And then we actually got it on sale one day when we were scrolling through our sales together, like we do. And we initially thought we'd do it for an indie bit. I started playing it. And when I started playing it, I realized, oh man, there is a lot more to this game than I thought. And I was talking to you about it, and we thought, after you had started playing it as well, like, oh, well, we might just have to do like a full episode on this one because there's actually a lot here.
True, and I agreed when I started playing. I also was shocked to find out how long it actually was. And also how much depth there was in the gameplay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that basically, leads us to where we were like 6 days ago when we recorded, and then where we are now. So then, we'll just go ahead and get in the game. So the game takes place, I think you said earlier, it takes place in France in the 14th century. It specifically takes place in the Aquitaine region of France. It's probably not how you pronounce it, but of like it's a region of medieval France. So basically, like around the time of the actual Black Plague, but the plague in this game is more fictional. It's like inspired by the Black Plague than like actually being just a straight up historical game, which once again, what I thought going into it. Each chapter of the game takes place in a different area. I don't know if you remember when we recorded this. I compared it to like like a Call of Duty map, sort of.
That's true, and I compared it to The Last of Us,
which is far more correct than what I said. It really made me feel stupid for not thinking of The Last of Us. But yeah, The Last of Us is the best way to compare it. It's like semi-linear. You'll have more open areas where you look around looking for crafting materials, collectibles, things like that. You'll have enemies to fight or puzzles to solve, and then you'll have like smaller kind of transitional areas. Like you said, in terms of The Last of Us, you have rooms connected together with hallways. Pretty much how that works.
Right, in terms of like, if you really break it down, those are the dynamics of how the world is mapped out.
Yeah.
Because there's no going back.
Correct. Anyway, so talk about the story. In the year 1348, Amicia de Rune, a 15-year-old girl of noble descent who lives in Aquitaine, which has been invaded by the English army during the 100 Years' War. Her 5-year-old brother Hugo has been ill since birth, and their mother Beatrice, who is an alchemist, has sheltered him in their estate while trying to devise a cure. While hunting with her father Robert de Rune in the forest, Amicia encounters an unusual substance on the ground, and her dog, Leon, is gruesomely consumed by an unseen entity. Then they get back home, and French Inquisition troops, led by Lord Nicholas, arrive at the de Rune estate in search of Hugo. They execute Robert, and they start just slaughtering all of the family servants. Beatrice, oh, sorry, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say I love when games open like this. When they create a perfect environment and then destroy it and 20 minutes into the game and everybody is killed and the protagonist's whole life is ruined.
Yeah, I very much agree with that. I think if you have any sort of like post-apocalyptic type game, which obviously this isn't like an apocalypse, but it's like a huge world-shattering event, I guess it'd be the best way to put it.
Right, it does have that feeling of impending doom.
Mm-hmm. The best way, to start at that game, to start those types of games, is you introduce the main character, their situations, you then just instantly tear it all apart, and you go from there. Which I mean, that's something that like even The Last of Us did. Like it's I wouldn't say like it's super common, but it's certainly like something that really helps start any kind of post tragedy event off on the right foot. So anyway, Beatrice helps her children escape and instructs Amicia to take Hugo to a doctor named Laurentius before she is killed by Nicholas. So the children flee to a nearby village where they learn that hordes of rats have been spreading the Black Plague, known as the Bite, in this game. The two are wanted by the Inquisition and have to evade the many different villagers of this town. Amicia and Hugo eventually reach Laurentius's farm and find him severely ill with the plague. Laurentius implores Amicia to finish her mother's work seconds before the farm is overrun by rats. The siblings flee with Laurentius's apprentice Lucas to seek the Chateau d'Ombrage, which once belonged to the de Rune family. I don't know if this is when we talked about it initially, Noah, but I know like we had talked about kind of the relationship between Amicia and Hugo.
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually talking to Paige about that earlier today, and I was like, Jaden said last time we talked about this, at the beginning of the story, they mentioned that because Hugo is so sick, he and his sister have not really even met in the time of his life. So they should be strangers to each other, and Jaden believes that very quickly they seem to be acting like close siblings who have known each other their entire lives.
Yeah, that is absolutely what I think. Like I said, I think a great example of that is in chapter. It's chapter 2. It might be chapter 3. But I'm pretty sure it's chapter 2. Either way, very early in the game, where all of kind of that everything we mentioned up to like Beatrice being killed by Nicholas is all chapter 1. A lot of stuff happens in chapter 1, and then chapter 2 starts like immediately after that. Like chapter 1 ends with them jumping into a river. Chapter 2 starts with them like out of that river. So like no time at all had passed. And in this time when they're in this village, they get into an argument because Hugo, being 5, he just wants his mommy. He just constantly is like, "Oh, let's go back to mommy. Let's go back to mommy. Blah 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 blah, mommy." And at first, Amicia's like, she doesn't want to, tell him that their parents are dead. But she's kind of dodging the request for a while. And then eventually she just like, at this point, like he keeps saying it, and she snaps at him and just like, they're both dead. Everyone's dead. They're all dead. And like Hugo gets mad and runs away, and she like has to chase after him. And really up until I feel like the first few chapters of the game, it just seems like they are way too close for the amount of time they've known each other. Because literally in chapter 1, when Amicia like and him are first on screen at the same time, like she says like, "Hey, like I'm Amicia, I'm your sister." Like very much like they have, like I think they had seen each other before, but it was a very much like you said, almost strangers. So to me, it was very like quick that their relationship developed, and yeah, just something that was weird.
So, as they cross a battlefield occupied by English soldiers, Lucas explains that Hugo's blood carries a supernatural evil called the Prima Macula, which has lain dormant within certain noble bloodlines since the plague of Justinian. So basically, it's like a curse. I think it's passed down, and is it just their bloodline, or is it multiple?
I think it says certain noble bloodlines, so I guess
No.
it's some families, but I mean,
Weird.
you don't.
Maybe because like in the past people have switched it like they do in this game or whatever.
Yeah, like
Experimented with it.
yeah, you don't like encounter any other like people that have this disease.
Right. So Beatrice and Laurentius had been trying to find an elixir that would mitigate Hugo's symptoms. While Vitalis Benevent, the Grand Inquisitor of France, seeks to harness Hugo's power so that the Inquisition can rule France. Hugo and Amicia are briefly captured by the English, but escape with the help of sibling thieves Melly and Arthur. Arthur is captured as the others escape the Chateau d'Ombrage.
Yeah, I think this is kind of so they get to the chateau, and then at this point, it actually there's a time skip of a few months. It doesn't say specifically, but like the game starts out, I think, in like spring, maybe summer, and then at this point, it skips to winter, and then I think by the end, it's in like spring, summer again. But yeah, so like the actual game does take place over like the course of like a year or so, and it's like going back to what I said about their relationship. Like after the time skips, by the end of the game, they're very close sibling wise, and that to me was something that like okay, well it makes sense now because they've been together for a while, they've been living together for a while, so it's like that relationship issue does get fixed, but it's still something that at the beginning, like I was playing with my girlfriend watching, uh, and she and like we both were like, well, this seems like a weird like personal argument for them to have, considering it's so early in their relationship.
Right. Anywho, Lucas, who the kids want to continue the work of Laurentius and Beatrice and help mitigate Hugo's curse. To do so, he needs a forbidden book called the Sanguinis Itinera to complete an elixir that may help Hugo. Amicia infiltrates the university to retrieve the book while Melly rescues her brother. Amicia recovers the book and meets a young blacksmith named Roderick, who helps her escape. Back at the chateau, Arthur reveals that Beatrice is still alive, but imprisoned. Amicia insists they not tell Hugo, but he overhears the conversation. His anger appears to worsen his symptoms, so Amicia and Lucas return to the De Rune estate, looking for Beatrice's research. They're basically trying to look for anything that can help Hugo because he's in a really rough state when they left. In a hidden laboratory, they complete the elixir and administer it to Hugo to alleviate his symptoms. He's angry at his sister for not telling him the truth, and he runs away to join the Inquisition to find Beatrice.
Really, honestly, one of the most annoying moments in a game recently, like in recent memory for me,
Yeah.
is him just running away to the Inquisition that we've been trying to keep him from this whole damn game.
Yeah, true, but it was reminiscent to me of Atreus.
I mean, it's not like he like went and joined Baldur.
No, but I mean in the sense that he did stupid shit, and I was like, oh, that's because he's a kid and he's not thinking clearly. He doesn't understand. But I think they do a really good job of portraying that. And you're supposed to hate him for that. He literally ran into the arms of the enemy, but it's because he's a child and he wanted his mother.
No excuses.
Who was alive, by the way.
I mean, yes.
I was shocked.
I was not. The fact that you didn't actually see her die, like at the beginning, because it's a door closes and then Nicholas's sword goes through the door and it's covered in blood and stuff. It was very much like, I think at the time I was like, well, she might be dead, but she might not be.
Well, I mean, the way you go through this game and you amass all these teenagers, I felt like we were building the medieval Teen Titans. I didn't feel like adults were going to be a part of it.
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
I kept being like, Paige, I got another one. This one's a blacksmith's son. She's like, what? Why?
Yeah, I could see that. I could absolutely see that. But yeah, I don't know. I was just very annoyed with that. Anyway, that's whatever. So Vitalis injects himself with Hugo's blood so that he can possess the power of the macula. But due to Lucas's elixir, he is unable to fully attain Hugo's powers.
This might be something they go into in the next game, but I don't really understand how any of that works.
How giving him Hugo's blood gives him the macula?
Yeah, because why doesn't everybody just take some of Hugo's blood then?
Well, I think it's like a secret. Like, I think hypothetically, at this point, like the only people who even know that the powers of the macula are Beatrice, Nicholas, maybe, and Vitalis. Because like even Hugo doesn't know at that point.
That's true, but Amicia and all them know now. I mean, like they all know now at the end of the game.
Uh, I yeah, but like at this point, I don't know. I don't know. Like you said, maybe it'll be explained in the sequel. So Hugo escapes and finds Beatrice. And before they're recaptured, she reveals that the macula gives him the power to control the rats. Vitalis threatens Beatrice's life to force Hugo's powers to fully awaken, which in turn, like, fully awakens them in Vitalis, which also doesn't really make sense. So then the Chateau d'Ombrage is attacked by a swarm of rats guided by Hugo, who is still angry at Amicia. Nicholas, who is accompanying him, kills Arthur and orders Hugo to kill Amicia, but she convinces her brother to reject the Inquisition, and they work together to battle Nicholas until the rats consume him. The children then decide to confront Vitalis. So as they fight their way to the Bastion, Roderick sacrifices himself to protect Hugo and Amicia. That sucked.
Yeah, he died, right?
Yeah, he died. Yeah.
That did suck, but they killed both the teenage boys in this game. And I kind of felt like that would happen. I thought that they were going to set up a relationship between Melly and Amicia.
Yeah. What?
That's what I thought. Yeah, I did think that.
I also thought that.
Exactly. Don't give me shit, you dumbass.
I don't know. I did not mention it last time because
I'm sorry. I don't mean for to be so blue color. I just learned that the other day. That's when you would be bleeped out on TV.
what?
They say it's blue color language. If all
Oh,
your words would be bleeped out on TV.
I didn't know that.
Hmm.
But yeah, what the hell are we talking about? Oh yeah, yeah. No, I thought that too, but I didn't mention it last time we recorded because I thought it was kind of stupid. I thought it was just me.
No, I just forgot to mention it, but I definitely felt that way.
Cool. I thought that was speaking. I thought that was another weirdly fast advancing relationship as well.
Oh yeah, they just met and then they acted like they were best friends. I mean, Melly went from I don't care about this, I need to save my brother to it's this or death for me.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was weird. But anyway, so as they fight their way, oh, I already said that. So Vitalis awaits their arrival, having bred thousands of white rats that only he can control. Hugo ultimately overpowers Vitalis, and Amicia kills him. And then 3 days later, both the rats and the plague have disappeared, and life begins to return to normal. Many remain wary of Hugo and his power, including Melly, who parts ways with the group, and Amicia, Hugo, Lucas, and an ailing Beatrice leave in search of a new home.
Thank God Lucas was still alive.
Yeah, Lucas is really cool. Yeah, that's the story. I liked it. I think it was cool. I don't like that Melly left at the end. I feel like she should have stayed with the group.
I agree.
Um,
Especially after losing her brother.
yeah, like it really was like, yeah, that's it. It was just kind of weird.
Okay, so in A Plague Tale: Innocence,
Yeah,
the
sorry,
player
sorry, I
assumes
was yawning.
control of
Sorry, Noah, you want to talk about the gameplay?
in A Plague Tale: Reminiscence. Is
What?
that what it's called?
Nope.
Damn, is it Requiems?
Oh, Requiem. You're talking about the sequel.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. What about it?
I'm just joking about it.
Oh, okay. I'm
I'll
sorry.
be able to play it and you won't. Oh wait, no, it's not exclusive. Damn it.
Yeah,
I
that's the
forgot.
Hellblade.
That's the one
That's
that
the
we looked
Hellblade
up.
sequel. You dick. Yeah, fuck off. Yeah, blue collar
Well,
that.
well, I'll still be able to play the Hellblade sequel and you won't, so.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, you want to talk about gameplay?
In A Plague Tale: Innocence, the player assumes control of Amicia from a third-person perspective. For the majority of the game, players need to utilize stealth to avoid hostile encounters, as enemies will kill Amicia instantly if they catch her. Amicia is equipped with a sling that can throw rocks to break chains, create distractions, stun guards, uh, long enough for the rats to ambush them. She can also kill enemies with a headshot if their head is unprotected. In this game, you face two types of enemies. They are the Inquisition and the rats. The rats are sometimes treated as an enemy and sometimes treated as a puzzle. I prefer the puzzles. I think Jade and I agreed on that last time we talked about it.
Yeah, the puzzles were really good.
Right. But the other side is the Inquisition. These are like basically men with swords, and they wander around slowly and avoid the rats most of the time. You can either sneak by them or kill them, however you decide to play it. For the most part, I think they were pretty easy, especially as you gain more special ammo, which we'll get into here in a minute.
Yeah, if oh man, I can't remember exactly how we had talked about this, but so I guess I guess we'll just go into the actual probably crafting and upgrades section of this. So basically,
I think we bounced around the other time too.
we did. I just can't remember the order we did everything in.
Doesn't
Anyway, I mean, just talk about her main weapon is a sling, which is obviously a pretty unique weapon to have. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a sling. I really don't know what to say about it.
I actually haven't played very many games where you use a sling though.
No, very. I honestly, at the top of my head, can't even think of one. But I know you had talked about last time we talked about this game. Something you really enjoy is the auto aim feature.
That's true. I do really enjoy the auto aim. It
Yep.
locks on to people's heads and follows them, and it just makes the game so much easier. Without it, it would be impossible to aim.
Yeah, especially as like enemies are walking towards you, and that's that can be a problem. So you have your like basic weapon as a rock, which is pretty cool. You also have all other types of ammo that all do different things. It's cool. The alternate ammo, the whole crafting thing in general, for the most part, is really based around alchemy. Like the game itself, based around alchemy, which is a pretty cool. You don't really see a lot of alchemy focused anything.
No, you usually see alchemy in something like an RPG like Skyrim, where it's like basically the same thing as potions, and that's not really what alchemy is. I like these though.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just going through kind of all the different ammo she has. So first, you have the common rock. Then you have a pot. It's not really something you can attack with. It's more of just a distraction thing. So then you look at your ammo. So you have ignifer, which is can be used to light fires, which is obviously very important for keeping rats away. There is somnum, which we had talked about that. I did not use somnum very much. Basically, somnum is like an instant acting. The best I could describe it was an instant acting like chloroform, where it would just knock an enemy out instantly. And it's particularly used kind of like Shiv on a clicker in The Last of Us, of like when an enemy grabs you, you can use it to basically take them out and free yourself. It is one of two what I call like premium items, because they actually take a lot of resources to craft, and you actually don't get a lot of you can only carry like one at a time.
That's true, but I used it constantly because I had some times where stealth was difficult for me and I had to go loud. And in this game, it's not that easy sometimes.
Yeah, it takes so much resources to craft that I never found myself wanting to craft it. Like the only time I ever used one was in the like tutorial part where you first get it and it shows you how to use it. That was the only time I ever actually used it. Anyway, then there is Deverantis, which is basically it's an acid that like melts metals. So you throw it onto enemies that have helmets, and then they take their helmets off, which then leaves them open to be killed with a rock headshot. Deverantis I used all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, especially like later chapters, enemies have helmets a lot. Very, very useful. I used it all the time. Then there's Luminosa, which like Somnovum, it's a premium ammo where basically it like creates it makes like a loud sorry, not a loud, a like large burst of light that like disintegrates rats in an area, and then it illuminates an area where there is no other light source. So like keeping rats away so you can go through. Very situational use. Really, you only use them like I only used them as much as I did because of getting all the collectibles. Uh, but yeah, they're still cool. I like them. I like the concept. I just wish,
Yeah, I only used it in the required story bits.
yeah, I wish it's kind of introduced as like an emergency backup if you're having trouble solving a puzzle or something. But it's never really like there was never a puzzle that was hard enough that I had to use it. And even then, there never really seemed like a place where I could use it in place of solving a puzzle to get through rats because the area isn't that big.
Right, it almost never
Yeah.
clears up all the
Yeah.
rats, so it's not really
Yeah.
that helpful.
Yeah. Anyway, so then there's Odorous, which attracts rats. Basically, you can like throw it on enemies, so the rats will then like eat that enemy, or you can just throw it like in a certain area. The rats will travel to that area for like a certain amount of time. I think it's like 6 seconds or something. It lasts. And then the last ammo you get is Extinguish, which opposite of Ignifer, it puts out fires. Which why would you want to do that? Well, that's because of the
I told you last time it's because you can put out fires and next to people and rats go attack those people.
yeah, and also when you control rats.
Oh, true. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. So let's talk about the rats now. Noah, you want to talk about controlling rats?
I actually. Oh yeah, right. Wait. No, that's direct. You don't have like this written down anywhere, right?
I did not.
Okay, so and the latter portion of this game, when Hugo's powers are unlocked, it's unveiled that he actually has the ability to control the rats. And in game, this functions as basically aiming with one trigger and holding down a spot on the floor or the wall or whatever. It is highlighted with a bright dot, basically, and the rats go to that spot. You can highlight enemies and have the rats eat them, but if you let go of it for any time at all, the rats will come back and attack Hugo and or Amicia or Beatrice or whoever he's with or whatever. I thought this added a crazy new element to the game. It it added a move for the rats where they all gather together in a giant pile and attack. And Jaden and I discussed this last time we talked about it, but he did not like the pile of rats, and I thought it was cute and clever.
Well, first you when you encounter them is earlier in the game when you're going back to oh man, what's it called? The uh damn it. Like the Darun estate. No, when you go back to the Darun estate as Amicia and Lucas. I'm just spacing out. I'm sorry. So and like it's basically like the rats like form this like kind of tornado of rats that then can like destroy fire and stuff. So you have to like deal with that, and you have to. I think you have to hit them with like ignifer or something. You have to hit them with a certain ammo type. I don't remember exactly which one, but I think it is ignifer to like basically like blow apart the pile of rats. And I just thought that was dumb. I'm just yeah, I just thought it was stupid. Being able to do it with Hugo, I guess made sense because he's like controlling them. But you know, it is also like part of the game that just these rats are like smarter than the average rats.
That is true. You did mention that in the lore. They talk about how intelligent they are.
Yeah, they're very smart rats. Yeah, but still, I just like it was. I just thought it was dumb when they added it. But yeah, no, it is something Hugo can do as well, which, like I said, makes I guess more sense because Hugo's telling them to do it. Whatever, I don't know.
I like it. I stand by it.
Okay. So anyway, you know, you have all these different types of ammo. And how you get them is through crafting. So all of the ammo in the game can be crafted through materials that you find throughout the world, just like in the open areas and stuff. And you also do have an upgrade system, which one thing that is unique to this game in terms of crafting slash upgrading at least just as we're talking now, I can't think of another game, is that the same materials are used to both craft ammo and upgrade items, which brings this kind of survival horror item management aspect into the game as well. So yeah, all your ammo is craftable, and then you also have upgradable items. You have the sling, where you can upgrade the string and the pouch, and then the equipment, where you can upgrade your pocket, which is like basically allows you to hold more of crafting items. Your ammunition bag allows you to hold more ammo, and your attirel, which it kind of does miscellaneous things in terms of like your movement, pretty much. And then you can also upgrade alchemy containers and instruments, which is more focused on your ammo and the like effects, like duration of effects, things like that. One thing I do like about all of these upgrades for like the sling and the equipment is they're all useful. Like all the upgrades do different things. There's not really like a progressive buildup. Like the first, like each item can be upgraded 3 times. And I guess the pocket and ammunition bag obviously is just progressive, being able to hold more stuff. But for the string, pouch, and rail, it's all like each level does a completely different thing from the previous level. So it makes it like more worth it to upgrade, in my opinion. The only thing I don't like, which I did mention before, is the fact that you have to upgrade them in order, which like semi doesn't make sense because the fact that the upgrades really have nothing to do with each other. I think it would have made it better if you could pick and choose your upgrades, at least for the ones where the actual abilities you unlock don't really seem progressive.
I thought I don't like when you have to hunt for resources to upgrade that much. And I know you say you don't really have to that much in this game, but to me, I was taking this game as a completely linear experience, and I like that. And I just never really found that I had to upgrade anything.
No, I would say for the most part, you could play through the game without upgrading anything, and I don't think you would experience too negative of like a drawback in comparison to upgrading everything. But you know, I upgraded, at least I upgraded the sling and equipment all the way because it is a trophy to do both. And certainly you do have to do a lot of scavenging to get the materials necessary to upgrade them all the way. But it wasn't like that inconvenient. Like I would say of my entire playtime of like 11 plus hours, I spent maybe an hour of that scavenging around for stuff. You know, I didn't think it was too bad. So anyway, puzzle solving. Noah, why don't you talk about puzzle solving?
Hold up, I just got breaking news.
What breaking news?
On IGN's best game of all time. Guess
Oh,
what was voted best game of all time?
God of War 2018?
God of War 2018.
Oh, that is breaking news.
Right now it's 65 to 35%.
Oh man.
I was nervous. I can't believe GTA beat
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Yeah, when I checked, Breath of the Wild was way ahead.
I'm also surprised that GTA 5 made it to the end. But no, I think God of War can deserve very much deserve being a best game of all time. I don't think I personally would put it as my best game of all time, but
No,
I
I wouldn't
certainly
either.
think, yeah, it certainly belongs in the conversation in terms of general best games of all time. If you're looking objectively, I would say.
It's definitely a great example of how I want games to be. Oh yeah, so I'll talk about the puzzle solving. So this is actually my favorite aspect of the game. I did love the combat, and I thought it shone brightest in the first boss fight against an Inquisitor who has like a set of armor, and you break locks on it, and the armor falls off of him. That shone really brightly to me, and then they don't really do anything exactly like that again. They don't, follow that. It's not really a one-on-one combat situation until the very last part of the game with the final boss fights. And those feel very differently. Anywho, the game consists of a series of puzzles which are mostly the player using specific instruments in the environment or the tools in their arsenal to affect the environment in a way to direct or distract rats and or inquisitors to gain access to new areas. This can be done by lighting fires, putting out fires, throwing rocks and pots to lure enemies to certain areas, using things like odorous to direct rats towards enemies, and basically the whole point of the game, it's like it is akin to The Last of Us to me, where it's like we have an objective and the whole time is spent like, okay, we have to get there. It's never like, okay, now we can calm down. It's always like, okay, we have somewhere to go now. If we get there, we have somewhere else to go, you know. And in that way, most of the game is spent. You come into a room, there's a puzzle on how to get into the hallway into the next room, and once you solve it, you just keep moving, and then there's another puzzle, and so on and so forth. And what this game does is tie the companions into the puzzles. Amicia has the ability to direct her companions, whether that be Hugo, Melly, or Roderick. They all have different abilities, whether that be Melly's lockpicking, Roderick can take down, he can silent take down Inquisitors. I think those are the only two special ones, right?
Special what?
Assists.
Abilities? What, Melly and Roderick?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Arthur can do something special too, but I don't remember exactly what.
I know, I can't remember, and I feel really bad about it.
Like, I think he can
Anywho.
like take enemies down from above or just distract them. I think he causes distractions.
Oh, right, something like that. Anywho, he was not long lived. Poor Arthur, rest in peace. So Amicia can use their companions to hold bridges up or move braziers or push carts with fire on it, different things like that to solve the puzzles. And this game does a great job of tying the puzzle into the story and the world, and it always feels like Amicia and Hugo are in immediate danger. I think it's a pretty immersive game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I do think the puzzles in this game are really cool. Specifically, the kind of rat puzzles, having to, drop braziers from the roof, drop bodies from like hanging bodies to distract rats are really cool. Very, macabre.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I think the puzzles were really cool. And like you said, the controlling other characters, it all worked really well. Like I really did. I enjoyed any kind of puzzle aspect, and I do have to agree with you that I would say I probably enjoyed them more than the combat sections.
Yeah, that can't be said about a lot of games.
No, that is very true. I think like it's not like I didn't enjoy the combat sections, but yeah, no, the puzzle sections were nice. I think it's I really like puzzle games, but I don't play them that often. And I think especially going into Plague Tale, I was not expecting there to be a lot of puzzle elements, and I was pleasantly surprised not only how plentiful they were, but that they were actually not like bad. For
Right. I also
Mhm.
like that if you don't understand what's going on, the companions will help you. I think that's really important in a game where you have a puzzle, so you don't have somebody who spends 6 hours trying to figure out how to get through your puzzle.
Yeah, I forget. Is it like a button press to have them help you, or do they just do it automatically?
They do it automatically over
Oh,
time.
see,
I think sometimes it'll be an interaction if you like mess something up or mistime something. But I think it's just natural.
I guess I do prefer it is a button press rather than just natural because sometimes I think they could get involved a little too early. I had the experience not with this game, but with another game I played that we will talk about soon on this podcast, I'm sure, where like I would be in the middle of doing the solution and then the NPC would tell me how to do the solution, and I'm like, I'm already doing it. Just calm down. But yeah, no, that's it. Just like any game that does have that, like I think it's good that a game has it, but I also think make it more like a player required thing than just an automatic thing.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
didn't feel like it was too early at any point in this game for me, though.
yeah, I got you. Anyway, so yeah, also you want to talk about like the kind of escort aspect of this? I don't think we've talked about that yet.
There's like one or two sections that this actually takes place. where you have to send Hugo somewhere first or have him wait and then bring him to you after crossing a guard's path or something, because it would take too long for both of you to climb through a window or a hole in the ground or something like that before a guard could see you. Like I said, that happened very few times, but I thought it could have been tied into the puzzle system. It could have been implemented differently. Like Hugo could have been had to wait at a place where there was a fire, and then you had to set a fire somewhere else and send him there. You know, different things like that that could have been implemented, but probably weren't for time and might be in the next game. So all in all, I think that mechanic had potential, but it wasn't quite there.
Yeah, I agree. Like, 'cause you talk about like, because Hugo, gets upset when you get like he starts to panic if he's left alone and can attract unwanted attention. I know last time we talked, you said that happened to you quite a bit.
I mean, I don't think so. I don't remember leaving Hugo alone that often. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean to me it never happened once. Like I remember getting the warning that he'll panic if you're like too far away from him, but I never really encountered that at all. Um Mainly because unless the game required it, I never made him wait anywhere because he's always like right to your side and he doesn't really affect anything, you know?
Very true. In fact, he's actually tied, most of the time, he's tied to Amicia pretty much as the same character model. It's not like Amicia is bumping into Hugo. They are moving as one unit.
Yeah, anyway, I don't know. That's it's like I think I'd said our initial recording is like the least escorty escort mission you'll ever have to do.
True enough.
Which is good because escort missions are annoying. Anyway, so let's move on. I think we got everything in terms of gameplay. Probably. So
I think so.
yeah. So then there are a decent number of collectibles in this game. So you have Hugo's herbarium, which are just flowers. You find throughout. Usually, Hugo like put the flower in Amicia's hair, and you'll finish the chapter with that flower in your hair. It's cute.
Yeah, I did not. I found one flower, and then never again. I found maybe a couple toys, and that's it. I don't think I found many other things. Like this, I feel like in this game, even the ingredients for your basic crafting things, I felt like they were blended into the world a little too well. I could almost never see unless I was right on top of something.
I disagree in some parts, and for like things like kind of like leather and fabric, I think those are like the two rarest crafting materials to find. I agree, but like most everything else is very kind of funny to me, like especially like the rocks, because the rocks are always found no matter where you find them in bags. And I just think it's funny because you're in the middle of a town square, rocks in a bag. You're in the middle of a forest next to a river, rocks in a bag. You're in someone's house, rocks in a bag. Like there's just it's like so comedic to me that they're always just in this like convenient leather pouch that you find these rocks in. And you could say the same thing really about like other things like the sulfur as well is like always in like this kind of like container, and the saltpeter is always in this container. So they kind of stick out for that. Yeah, I never found
Yeah,
them.
but those are the main ingredients. I don't know. I just had trouble finding things in this game. I felt like I
Okay.
couldn't see
Okay. I'm
anything
sorry.
except for the
It's
beautiful scenery.
anyway, so then you have gifts, which are just like they're little toys, like medieval toys, and curiosities, which are just kind of like random interesting objects, going from like spices to weapons to anything pretty much. I liked all of those. I like the collectibles in this game. The flowers or whatever, but the gifts and curiosities I like because when you find them, you like can read like a little fun fact about like the object you find, whether it be like the toy or just another object. I like those. It's nice little just fun. I assume historically correct information.
Sure.
Yeah, I like learning in my games. Anyway, so then you also have the alchemist carts, which are basically like shiv doors. They're just like you find the alchemist cart, you go in the alchemist cart. Shiv doors from The Last of Us for anyone who hasn't played The Last of Us. Basically, you find the cart, you go in the cart, and it's just got a bunch of crafting materials. It has a workbench for you to craft on, and that's it. You find the first one automatically through story, and then there are four more. And this is what I was talking about earlier with the what was it? The Luminosa. The only times I ever used Luminosa was to get to the other alchemist carts because usually they're behind a pile of rats with no light around them, so that's when you have to use the Luminosa.
I never found any.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted you to say it. So yeah, that's it with collectibles. Kind of straightforward. Anyway, moving on. Notable trophies. Not a toy anymore. Fully upgrade the sling. Handful of pockets. Fully upgrade the equipment. You do not have to fully upgrade the alchemy equipment at all for a trophy, which I guess is nice. I'd say it's actually pretty hard to do both of these in one playthrough. I did get the platinum in this game, and I did do it all in one playthrough. Found all the collectibles and the equipment, fully upgraded, sling fully upgraded. But it is pretty difficult, I would say, to find the correct number of materials to be able to upgrade everything. Like, you have to really, really do a lot of searching. Hence why, like, an hour of my game time was searching. But and that's also like a reason why I never crafted like the somnum at all, even though it is I think a useful item, because it uses some of the rarer crafting materials. And I was like, well, I can't use these to craft this ammunition. I need it for this upgrade, you know? But like I said, I mean, the upgrades are good. Like, I would have wanted to get some of the upgrades regardless of whether or not they were trophies, but it is something you have to do for trophies.
Yeah, that's way too much for me.
Yeah. So then that moves us on to questions. Favorite moments, Noah.
My favorite moment is actually the final boss fight. I just thought it was a spectacle of a final boss fight, and I never expected to get that at the end of this game.
I get what you're saying. My favorite moment was when Hugo and Nicholas attacked the Chateau d'Ombrage. I thought that was a really cool moment.
It was
Just
scary.
like, yeah, just all the rats and like everything's on fire, and Hugo and Amicia like making up, and Arthur dying. There's a lot going in.
What did you like about the game?
What I didn't like about the game, one, kind of whatever. Upgrades don't carry through chapter select, so there is chapter select. If you miss collectibles, you can just go back, get them in chapter select. You know, not like a big issue. But if you're going for all of the upgrades for the trophies, they don't carry through chapter select. So basically, like, if you say in chapter 10, get upgrade number 3 on the sling, like the string, and then go back later because like you're trying to upgrade something else, you don't keep that upgrade on the sling if you like go back to play chapter 9. And I think that's kind of annoying. I think it like makes getting the upgrade stuff more stupid, because hypothetically, if you don't find enough stuff to upgrade all of the equipment and all of the sling in one playthrough, you would have to play through, you know, a decent chunk of the game to be able to get all of, like, to get the other one upgraded all the way. Yeah, so I think that can be kind of annoying.
No, that's really annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the final boss. We had talked about this last time we recorded, obviously. I think mechanically playing it, the final boss was really nice. It was like I didn't really have too many issues with it. It was fun to play through. I just think story-wise, it was super stupid. The fact that Vitalis was able to control rats. He also had these white rats that only he could control, but Hugo couldn't. His rats weren't like weak to the light like Hugo's were. It was just so dumb. I was just like this is just stupid. It's just a dumb plot thing.
It's true. They weren't explained very well. I hope they don't come back.
Yeah, I think one of the only complaint I have about the story as a whole is that, like, even like the kind of relationships advancing quickly is like, whatever. Maybe there's like some time skips here I'm missing, you know, that's always something you could sort of explain. But yeah, that boss, that the concept of that final boss fight, just really, really dumb. Also, semantics, because I understand it's final boss fight. I think it's really dumb that every single person in this game, if Amicia hits them in the head with a rock, once she unlocks like that ability, they die. Every single person, one rock to the head, they die. Doesn't matter who it is, as long as they don't have a helmet on, one shot kill. But for some reason, this frail, old piece of shit man needs 3 rock hits to the head to die. Like, he's not wearing any head protection, nothing. He's just this, like, it's like you kill these like super buff soldiers with 1 rock to the head, but then this tiny frail old man takes 3. I think that's dumb. It's like, I understand because he's a final boss, obviously he can't die in 1 hit, but give him like armor that gets knocked off with each hit or something. Don't make it just like, oh yeah, this old guy can survive all these hits. I just thought that was dumb.
I thought it was funny. I mean, like, he took him like a champ.
It's like, yeah, it's like funny, but it's funny because it's ridiculous.
But it's a video game. It's supposed to be ridiculous.
Whatever. Anyway, replayability. Oh, I'm sorry. No, anything you didn't like about the game?
Oh, my complaint about the game was I had trouble in the sections where you had to sprint because my controller was actually messed up, and for some reason I was unable to sprint sometimes. And so I struggled for a long time, and I thought it was the game's fault. But it turns out it was my controller. That's on me.
Okay, yeah, I know you had complained about that. You almost like rage quit the game in chapter 4, like calling me about to quit it because you were very frustrated with it.
Right. Replayability?
No.
No.
Like,
But sequel.
Sequel, yes, I'll play the sequel, absolutely. But no, I played this game. It was fun. I do not really see myself playing it again ever. Just because I'm not really just because anything. It was fun. Anyway. Anywho, final thoughts. Yeah, it's a good game. I'd recommend it.
I would definitely recommend it. It's not that long. It has a great story, and it was very fun.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now we're gonna go ahead. We'll move on to the indie bit, the bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay.
So today we are talking about The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. So basically, the story of this game, you play as paranormal investigator Paul Prospero, as he is investigating the disappearance of a young boy who was like a fan of his called Ethan Carter. The gameplay is it's a walking sim. You have the walk button and you have the interact button, and I think you can run. Noah, you played this game, like you played it. You had the controller in your hand and everything. I know you did it. What'd you think?
That is correct. Listen, at least I knew the name of the detective. Spoiler alert.
Wow, that's
I said it. Oh no.
Let's talk about the fact you did.
Your mic cut, Jay. Did you rip it out in rage?
You didn't play the game, Noah. You didn't play the game. You're a piece of shit.
Would you count me if I said I watched PewDiePie play it?
That's even worse than just watching someone with no commentary play it.
What if I said he spoke Swedish in the video?
No.
I'm just kidding. The video I watched had no commentary. It was a 100% walkthrough. No fuck ups on the puzzles, which I'm sure you had.
What?
The puzzles. Like,
yeah.
Didn't the house puzzle take you a long time with the rooms?
I mean, it didn't really take me a long time.
Oh.
Let's hold on. You're getting ahead of ourselves. So I who actually played this game, I did like it. I think like I like walking sims. I like, like walking sims for the most part are just basically developers saying, hey, look how pretty our game is, and you get to see how pretty it is for an extended period of time. And
They
I
also
think,
usually have emotional stories.
yes, that's basically it's pretty games, emotional stories is what they do. And Vanishing Ethan Carter does very much fit in that realm. It's good. I think I would probably rate it as the best walking sim I've played because of the fact that it does actually do things different to make it like to kind of break up you just walking and looking at things. When you are a detective, you do actually like find crime scenes and have to solve these crime scenes, put these together, kind of like solving a crime in like the Batman Arkham games. Like you have to find all these events, you have to put the events in the correct order. I mean, but it's cool. Like I love playing. Like I love detective games. I love doing that in games, and it's done really well in Vanishing of Ethan Carter. They also have all these kind of like fantasy moments, like taking place in different genres. There's like a sci-fi one and kind of like medieval one. There's a fantasy one. which is like the house puzzle you were talking about, where you have to put a house correctly together by changing what you can see through door frames to make the house. It's basically the Carter house where Ethan's family lived, and you have to like you basically start out and it's like you're looking in this doorway and you can switch the view of the doorway between three different like rooms, and you have to put the correct rooms in all the correct places to eventually put the house together to solve this puzzle. There's also like a Slender Man like having to find these dead bodies and not get caught by this creepy man. Little horror game thing that I chickened out of and just looked up the solution to. Like there's a lot to change it up than just being your average walking simulator, and I really like that. Noah, you don't get an opinion because you didn't play it.
I like the story. I
Oh,
like
okay.
that movie I watched.
That's yeah. Oh my god, I hate you.
Yeah, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. It was all the same things you saw, but without a waste of my time. I'm sorry to the I apologize. I would like to publicly apologize to the developers. I'm sorry. I don't mean to shit on anybody's game. I never mean to do that. Everybody has games are subjective. You know, their own art. Not everybody is going to enjoy every type of game, and I just need a little bit more than a 2-button game. All in all, though, I enjoyed the story. I know Jaden doesn't like the twist ending, but I loved it.
Yeah, let's talk about the twist ending real quick. Gonna go ahead because this is spoiler alert this one time. 3, 2, 1. The twist ending is the game isn't real. Like it's all just a story Ethan made up, and basically the moments before he dies because of play the game. It's a lot to explain. I didn't like that. I liked when it was like actually being a detective solving things. I wish that was just how the game went.
I completely agree. I thought that was a better story. I mean, Ethan could have still died either way, as long as there was a demon thing to find out, you know, like see what was going on there.
Yeah, I assumed he was dead going in. I assumed we were already too late. It's just like the fact that the whole thing is just like Ethan's imagination. I wish I wish it would just have been real. Like I hate the like it's all just a dream story thing. I hate when they do that. Yeah, it's just annoying. Like even if they had kept all of that true, like the ending as it was, where it's all a story, if that had actually been how he died, but Paul Prospero was still real, I would have been fine with it. But even then, Paul Prospero was still like a character that he had made up. And that just really annoyed me. It really annoyed my girlfriend. She hated it.
Well, then it must be horrible. Well, I think that it was still a decent twist. It shook me. I was surprised, and that's all I need. I do agree with you that I think the detective story is better, but I leave it to them to decide because there's not a sequel. Anywho, the next indie game.
Anyway, that's The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Noah, what is the next indie game?
The next indie game.
Or indie bit, I guess.
Indie bit, right? Quote unquote indie game. Not really, but I would probably classify this as a AA game, maybe, or a single A. But it is The Wolf Among Us.
Yes,
a game that I have played multiple times.
Yeah, I've actually never played it. I have heard it is one of Telltale's best.
In my opinion, it is the best.
Yeah, so I'm actually like, it's a game that has been on my list, and I have just kept pushing it off for other games for so long. I am excited to actually play it. I think it's cool.
Good. You're gonna learn all about Big B Wolf.
Yeah, I do know like the premise of it, so it is certainly something that has piqued my interest. Anyway,
I just love the style of it.
Yeah. Anyway, oh man, I'm glad we could talk about A Plague Tale: Innocence twice and The Vanishing of Ethan Carter twice. Yeah. Anyway, so don't forget new episodes every other Monday, except this episode, obviously. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show, or tell us if you don't, and tell us why. Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast, and you can follow our Instagram, the Super Gamer Bros, for updates on episodes. And yeah, we'll see you guys next game.
Bye.